It's KR of D&D Homebrew, and talking today about why I play an RPG, and I think by extension why everyone plays an RPG. And part of the reason for this is somebody, a friend of a friend, had expressed an interest in playing RPGs, and this friend of mine said, "Hey, this guy KR, he plays them. You should ask." And so then this person's contacted me and said, "I'm kind of interested, but." Kind of describing it to them, and they knew something about it. And then they asked me, well, why do you play RPGs? Why does anyone play them? What do you get? Because the person said, I'm not a big war gamer person. I'm not a person who plays super complicated board games or anything. So I know some people that are playing them, and I'm sort of interested, but I'm a little nervous. I want to find out, what this is all about and why I should play. And so I'm thinking about this. I kind of started thinking about, well, why is it? What do we get out of an RPG game? As opposed to any kind of game. So I think one of the things that you forget about sometimes is, because it becomes so essential once you've done it a long time, is to play another character. To escape the reality of our lives and the mundane world that we live in, and go to another place where you have this other character with all these tremendous capabilities, potentially, or even ordinary capabilities, depending on the system, but usually more than you have in real life. And you're in a world that is totally different. You are in, a story that's unfolding in some very unique, let's say the classic fantasy RPG setting. There's magic in the world. There are dragons. There's monsters. There's the gods are out there, affecting the world in a very visceral way. And that escapism, that escape to another reality is, it's like taking a vacation, right? It's like thinking about this character and not about the things that are going on with this character. And I think that's satisfying. And, another thing about the playing in other characters, there's a psychological theory that it's sort of like role-playing and stuff like that in psychology, that it allows you to try on new personas and new perspectives that you can bring back to your own world. Not quite sure that's exactly what people are looking for, but just thought I'd throw it in. And, another thing that's really important about an RPG game is, unless you're playing a solo, or what do they call it, duet with two people, it's a social activity. There's going to be 4, 5, or 6 people involved, and human beings are social animals. We need social activities to bond over, to talk about, issues of the day. I'm not saying you're going to get political or anything like that, but when you're playing, you don't just go, I am now playing, let us play, and then you just play. You're conversing, you're making jokes about the world of the game, but also just the interactions that everyone has. You start to get used to people's personalities, and if it's a toxic environment, forget it. But if it's not, if it's a supportive, friendly environment, that social, networking, that using our social muscles, as it were, is really important. And it's fun. And it's something that we get. This is why people join bowling leagues or, any kind of group activity. Well, here you have these role-playing games that gives you that opportunity, and you can do it in a framework online if you don't have access to that. That you're not going to bowl online or anything, right? But you can do RPG games very easily online and have a connection with people. And you do make them, because I have when I've been in some online games. Another one is, what I call the buzz or the, allure of achievement that you can get in an RPG game in a fairly compressed period of time. We're moving through life. We're hoping to get promotions and better jobs, or grow our family, or watch them go out in the world, and those give us a sense of achievement. You get that in a role-playing game with your character. Obviously, the obvious thing is gaining levels or gaining powers or gaining skills. I get that. But also going into a storyline and achieving goals within that storyline. Finishing quests, beating the bad guys, helping the poor, whatever it is in the narrative framework of your game, that gives you a sense of achievement. There's nothing worse when a game ends prematurely, a campaign, and you haven't achieved your goals. You're always feel cheated. I wish all I wanted to do, explore that island, that volcano over there, or this or that. I wanted to get that person, that monster, whatever. Why? Because it gives us a sense of achievement, of accomplishment, of finishing things, and that because of this player character, role-playing dynamic where we have this alter ego in this world, that sense of achievement comes back to you. And that's something that's very alluring to us. Now, this is one that I personally like quite a bit because I'm a gamer, but I think it can apply in many different ways, is the satisfaction of achieving strategic and tactical outcomes, right? In terms of, problem solving, solving puzzles, mysteries, and these can be very, social RPG solutions, and also strategic in terms of approaching an enemy in a broad sense and then focusing in on different areas, and then the tactical level of fighting battles and, beating opponents that on the surface have better odds, but because of your tactical skill and the players all working together in this game environment, that can be really fun. That can be something that you, especially if you've never done it before, you realize, oh, this is why people play games, right? This is why people try, get on there. And it's not like chess or something where it's purely just your ability versus mine in a very abstract intellectual way. There's all sorts of social interaction and role playing and different ideas that come up so that players that aren't necessarily experts at the rules can do just as well as those who are. In fact, it sometimes takes, more than, the organic whole concept where the whole is greater than its constituent parts. The different people that bring different things are what makes us get that sense of achievement. And the unique part of a role-playing game as opposed to a board game is the emotional connections that we make with our player character and our interactions with this world in a way that, I don't want to say cathartic, because that sounds, first of all, it sounds a little dramatic. It sounds a little hooey, but there is an element of catharsis. There is an element where an RPG drama or storyline is always more emotionally you're more emotionally invested than, say, a movie or a book. And those can really affect you. But in a well-done RPG, you're part of the story. You're in it, your character. And that kind of emotional catharsis, again, you're playing someone else. You're trying to project what you think this character should be. And let's say you're lawful good, knight of the realm or paladin or something. And then you achieve and you do this. You learn something about yourself in terms of, let's say, you are a paladin, what you're going to allow to happen and not, the type of character that you're going to play. How was it to play that neutral character? I don't play evil characters, have them in my game, but, some people do because they want to do that. They want to experience that. Again, you always want to be in a safe mode, right? Because you can go into a problematic place, but most of the time you're going into a good place because this is a chance for you to experience that story emotionally with that investment, but be in a safe place. It's just a game. And my final, sort of thing that I recommended to this person about RPG games is kind of a little more esoteric, but because you can't know about it until you've done it. It's sort of like psychedelics or something, right? If you've never done it, you don't know what it's like. Is the sort of magic of immersion, the magic of being in this world and thinking about these characters, and as you go through the world and gain in level and experience, but just get enough sessions under your belt, you go, oh, this is what it's all about. This immersion into this world where now I want the world to make sense. I want there to be verisimilitude, but I understand there's a suspension of disbelief like there is with all stories and movies and all that, because it isn't real. I know that truth is stranger than fiction, that this will follow these rules of fiction and whatnot. And when those things are all occurring and we're contributing and I'm thinking about my character in this world as they would be, that immersion is something that I think is totally unique to an RPG game. I've never done the LARPing thing. I've watched people do it. And I'm always like, you're not really in that world. You're play acting. Again, I don't want to rip on anyone's experience with LARPing. I'm just saying it because what I've watched. But when you're in a fantasy RPG game and you're sitting there at a table, you're not jumping around and swinging swords. There's a level of intellectual and emotional immersion that is something unique and something I think is really, I think at the core with all these other things, that's the core of why we play RPGs. And a shout out to my Patreon supporters. As always, I love creating material, PDFs, maps, monsters, storylines, whatever it is, and some videos talking about kind of all the stuff I talked about here, but in greater detail. And I'd love to hear comments. If you like the channel, subscribe, like it. So, and then the final thing, as always, what I'm saying is what I did literally this time is I play RPG games of different kinds, and I have told someone else about it.